Time to go qualifying for round 7 of the FIA Formula 2 Championship, and we come to the quickest lap on the calendar. It is the Red Bull Ring, just 10 turns around this circuit. Through the next 30 minutes, myself, Chris McCarthy, alongside me, Alex Brundle.
The qualifying session, which marks the turning point towards home of the Formula 2 season, the shortest lap in terms of time of the year on the softest tyre available to these drivers in Formula 2. They have 2 sets of the super soft tyre to play with over this 4.3 kilometre circuit. Will now have to switch his brain back to Formula 2 mode and see if he can make good on that practice performance.
He has had quite the day. He was fastest in practice earlier and then went out and was 4th in FP1. So Alex Sun clearly enjoying Red Bull Ring.
Turn 4, this very much the banker section of this qualifying session. 24 minutes still remaining on the clock.
Luke Browning now making his way through the second sector into the third. We're going to see
on the steering wheel is real as he makes his way through the mid-corner of turn 9 and up to the top spot at this stage in his Invicta.
Leo Fornaroli, he took pole position at Bahrain.
For him.
Yeah, 1,000th of a second back from Leo Fornaroli as Kean Shields.
Out wide, the first taker, the first victim of the gravel bed installed a couple of years back now to punish drivers for finding themselves too wide through the mid-corner of turn 9.
We'll be looking for major improvements as we go back on board with Browning, who is improving through the first sector.
It's going to be one of those sessions where they're going to run out of time rather than running out of tyres. You see a lot of improvement still in that first sector. Browning looking like he's really struggling with the front axle. Look how much lock.
Luke Browning out of the final corner and down the start-finish straight. Currently P9 stays there. Crawford just behind, goes into the crucial top 10, which are reversed for the sprint race tomorrow. Whoa, is that Gabriele Mini running on to the gravel? Was it Kush Miney?
Get for Fornaroli, Stanek up to 5th.
Doing very good there, John Bennett.
Since Jeddah, coming across the line in his ART, not able to improve. Car moving around a lot, not able to improve as well. Arvid Lindblad, who's found himself wide in the final turn.
He certainly has. Personal best, let's see what happens to Montoya.
Montoya's heading into T9. He's just going to lose the rear ever so slightly in the middle, is he? No, bash on the curb in turn 10. And a big moment, but he has managed to keep that one on the road through the final corner. Yeah. Lindblad line being demonstrated aptly by the man himself out there and having to recover onto the exit curb of turn 10.
Everything that goes into getting ready for an FP1 session to then come back down from that as John Bennett gets a big slide through turn 3 and catches the car before getting it back in a straight line.
Giving to try to capture one, and that's worth a decent amount of time.
Looks like he's push 1, not a lot of people improved push 2.
Okay, so feel for the movement of the tyre there. We are relatively high in comparison to free practice on track temperature.
3, if you make a bit of a mistake out there, the run to turn 4 feels very long.
There seems to be a difference car to car because Fornaroli was able to keep the tyre underneath him, or indeed driver to driver. So who can potentially deny Formula 3 champion Leonardo Fornaroli, who's put in a stellar lap at the beginning of this session.
But he's beaten immediately by Richard Verschoor, who goes to the top. Richard Verschoor fastest with a 1:15.253.
Corners, let's see what Fornaroli can find across the line. Victor Martins also going extremely fast behind.
Fornaroli up to the line, it's good enough to get himself onto the front row, but will he stay there? Victor Martins in the background, heads up to the line. Will it be a second pole position of the year? It will. Moore, he's just done an 18.7 through the first sector. Crucial improvements coming in from the likes of Alex Dunn, Jack Crawford as well, as Richard Verschoor is off through the penultimate corner.
Yeah, and did that hold up Mini? I think Mini is far enough behind. Yes, he is. So Mini's far enough behind to be able to conclude his lap. Let's see what it is.
Over the line, final corner. Will it be a second pole position for the Italian? Up to the line he goes. Yes, it will. The Aramco pole position to the Italian Leo Fornaroli. A much needed result. He had his first non-finish at Barcelona, did miss the consistency, but now he is back at the very front to take his second pole position.
I went up in the last corner. From the second lap, I have so much less grip.
Falling away for Vachor, and I think he might have cost Mini a little bit of performance
For him, but out front it's Leonardo Fornaroli who takes the Aramco pole position, his second of the season. So we have our first repeat pole sitter, and it's the reigning Formula 3 champion Leo Fornaroli.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Harrison Fit Motorsport YouTube channel. Today's video, we've just seen the highlights of qualifying for the 2025 Austrian Grand Prix for F2, with Fornaroli taking it out by a skin of his teeth to Victor Martins. Very interesting. You have the rookie in Fornaroli just beating off the guy Martins, experienced vet, third or fourth year in the sport, a lot older than Fornaroli is. So it's interesting seeing the contrast of ages and experience in this category at the circuit. I think that shows how much of a circuit it's easy to learn, and it's a good circuit for beginners and rookies alike. Either way, you had Mini doing well, another rookie. The rookie that didn't do well though, when he needed to, was either Lundblad, kind of keep his championship hopes alive in his first year, the 17-year-old that's looking for a FP1 outing next time in Silverstone. FP1 outings, they usually diminish the quality of the F2 race weekend that you're having. However, we've seen by Alex Dunn here, that's not the case, not for him. We saw Behrman struggle in the past with doing both on the same weekend. But Dunn, he goes out and gets P1 in practice, goes out and gets P4 in FP1 and F1. He kind of comes here and gets P7, which is a good spot for both races, especially in F2, given you have a pit stop and you can run the alternate strategy. Either way, a great weekend for Alex Dunn. Good weekends though for Martins, Vachor and Fornaroli, who are really keeping this championship fight alive. Anyway, that's kind of my spiel about what happened in this qualifying session and what's up for the race weekend. I think Fornaroli might take it. He's looked quick as the whole weekend, and Martin's luck, we know, is terrible. I think either Lundblad might come through the field a bit, overtaking some of the mid-drivers and get good points in the feature race. I think he'll struggle to get points in the sprint race though, given that this track sometimes leads to DRS trains. Either way, I'm very excited for this race weekend. I think Vachor might do well as well, but if you want to see more, subscribe, hit the bell. I'll be doing some F3 2026 lineup predictions. I'll be doing some teammate comparisons in F2 and F3, seeing which drivers are doing the best against their teammates. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Lots more on the way, so subscribe. Thanks for watching. Peace.